Hey, what is going on, everyone? Dan Wanis here with the Daily Fantasy Press. I'm going to be previewing the 2017 U.S. Open hosted in the Cheesehead state of Wisconsin at Erin Hills Golf Course in Erin, Wisconsin. This is the first U.S. Open being hosted in the state. However, the 2015 PGA Championship was hosted at Whistling Strait in Kohler, and then they're going back to Kohler for the 2020 Ryder Cup. So Wisconsin is going to be pretty familiar with the golf community here in the next couple of years, and the videos, the flyovers of the course, the USGA has been providing leading up to this event. The course looks awesome. It's going to be a pretty fun event to watch on TV. We're going to be going into the course preview here in a bit. Just to give an overview, it's a par 72, coming in at 7,693 yards. They are capable of making it even longer. We will have to wait and see how long they want to make it, but this is going to be the longest U.S. Open ever, and it's been quite a while since they've hosted a par 72 course, like 25 years. So something different this year. Last year's champion was Dustin Johnson, who won at Oakmont. Much different course. That course played pretty tough as well. Same with Chambers Bay in 2015. Jordan Spieth won that event, and scores were not very low. So the U.S. Open's been tough lately, and I think we could see that again this year, depending on how weather plays out. So let's get into the course. Erin Hills was designed by Dana Fry. Fry learned and worked for Fazio out of college. As a lot of you guys know, Fazio courses, they're demanding. They require strategic shots, and that is exactly what Erin Hills demands. This course was formed off the natural hills of glaciers over 10,000 years ago. Only 4 holes had land removed and were vastly modified. So that goes to show how natural a golf course this is going to play and also appear. So majority of it's been untouched. They've added some cosmetic things, obviously a bunch of bunkers, and we'll get into that in just a bit. But Dana Fry says the greens are going to be rolling perfect. If it's wetter, players are going to be able to fly the ball and really have control on the greens. If you get guys like DJ, Rory who can bomb it and it's not windy, there are going to be some really low scores on the course. However, if it's dry and the wind picks up, it's going to play really difficult and be very relentless to the guys out there. So the weather's really going to dictate scoring. I'm not even going to be previewing weather yet. I'm recording this on Thursday, a week prior to the event. We will give a weather update in our article we release in the next few days, and also on Twitter, to just give daily updates all the way until tee times next Thursday. And going back to what I mentioned with the bunkers, these bunkers almost look like they've not been touched for a number of years. They let the grass grow out around them. They're not nicely groomed like you see at the Masters. It is very rough, rugged. Players are going to have some nasty lies, and it may require them to just completely put their back at the hole, punch it out, and basically give up a stroke to make a bad situation to avoid any disaster with trying to go for it and playing aggressive. So guys are going to want to get out there, practice, get a feel for these ugly lies, and I think we're going to see quite a few of them this week. And another note here is the fairways are twice as wide as a typical US Open. So I'm sure you guys have seen photos. You see the long fescue grass. And it's something when you see it, it looks terrifying if you miss a fairway. But these fairways are a little more forgiving with their width, but you do not want to miss it. So driving accuracy, obviously it's still important, but I don't think it's going to be as important as some people stress this week, just because the fairways are a little wider. The Amateur Open was held here in Erin Hills in 2011. Some of the guys that played in that, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Russell Henley, Peter Uihlein, Kelly Craft won over Cantlay, neither of which are in the field this week. So there are some guys that have played the course. Obviously, that was 6 years ago, and the course is set up a little different for the U.S. Open now. And another cool note, yesterday Fox released news that they're going to have drones on all 18 holes with shot tracker. So we're going to be seeing some pretty crazy angles from up above, and I think it's going to be pretty cool to watch on TV. Fox has always been known for their cutting edge technology. Their commentating has been garbage, and they've really been hearing it the last couple of years with their commentary. But who knows? The shot tracker may be able to resurrect some of that garbage commentary, but nonetheless, it should be fun to watch on TV, and a beautiful course at that as well. Now, some of the key stats we're looking at. First, as always, I love strokes gained tee to green. It really shows where a golfer's overall game is at. Next, greens and regulation are going to be really important with hitting the greens, avoiding the greenside bunkers, and not having to get in that trouble. Good driving percentage, I'm going to go in depth and explain to you exactly what that is and why I think it's important this week. Scrambling, par 4 scoring, strokes gained approach, strokes gained off the tee, and sand save percentage with those bunkers. So let's get into the DraftKings picks. First, we have Ricky Fowler. And like I said, I'm recording this. The first round of action is still not complete for the FedEx St. Jude tournament. Ricky had a rough first day. Honestly, I'm hoping that he misses a cut and he's got a few more days out at Erin Hills. I know he played it last week, so he's been out there. He's seen the course. And let me put Ricky aside for a second. The 3 stat categories I have listed out here: strokes gained off the tee, good drive percentage, and total driving. So what is good drive percentage and how does it differ from total driving? So good drive percentage is taking the number of fairways hit plus greens and regulations hit from the missed fairway. So it kind of gives you an idea of how badly a player misses the fairway. If they are well off the fairway in the deep rough, most likely they're not going to have a shot to hit their green and regulation on that hole. So good driving takes that into account, whereas total driving just ranks average, the average in driving accuracy with average driving distance. So it's just taking the average of those two. If you hit the fairway, you're rewarded with 100% fairways hit, whereas if you miss it, I mean, it's pretty black and white, where good driving kind of takes a different aspect of it of by looking at how badly did you miss that fairway, or was it just off the fringe into the rough, and you were able to still hit that green in regulation on a par 4 for your second shot. So you can see here, Ricky ranks first in total driving and 26th in good driving percentage. Strokes gained off the tee, he's ranked 4th. He's got a win under his belt this year at the Honda Classic. He finished fourth at Waste Management earlier in the year, 12th at Arnold Palmer, T3 at Houston, T11 at the Masters, and last weekend he finished second at Memorial. And the other thing I love about Ricky, I mentioned sand save percentage. He's ranked number one on tour in sand save. So Ricky at 10,500, especially if he misses the cut this week, I think that's going to lower his ownership. But I'm not worried about it. Ricky's having a great year, and he's in great form. Next, we have Francesco Molinari, another guy that struggled here today for the first round of St. Jude. He checks all the boxes as a ball striker, also solid off the tee as a driving specialist. He ranks 6th in strokes gained off the tee, 4th in good driving percentage, and 11th in total driving. I think as long as he keeps it out of the long stuff, he's going to grind his way through the weekend and up the leaderboard. And he's just a top 25 machine. In his last 10 to 12 starts, he has finished in that top 25. So I think Molinari, solid option. He's priced at $7,000 on DraftKings, and love that price for him. Next, we have Martin Keimer, also priced at $7,000. He is ranked 62nd in strokes gained off the tee, 24th in good driving percentage, and 22nd in good driving. This guy, he's just mispriced, and his stats back it up. He finished 4th at Honda earlier this year, and his top 25 finishes at WGC Mexico, Arnold Palmer, WGC Austin, the Masters, and let it be noted, he had a really rough round in the Masters, and if he did not have those couple bad holes, he would have been hanging there on Sunday in contention. So these are the driving specialists that take good driving percentage and total driving into play, and I think they're set up well for the course this week. Next, we have the value ball strikers. Leading off, Brendan Steele. He ranks 44th in greens and regulation, 44th in good driving, and 10th in total driving. Now, Steele has not missed a cut since last year. He has 5 top 25 finishes this year, and most recently he finished T6 at the Players. So I think Brendan Steele, he's in really good form, having a great season. We've been on him this year, and at 7,100, I like him this week. Next, we have Lucas Glover, priced at $6,800. He is ranked 3rd in greens and regulation, 6th in good driving percentage, and 4th in total driving. Really up there in those stats. And he's got top 10s at Arnold Palmer and the Players this year. And next we have William McGirt, priced at $6,900. He ranks 33rd in greens and regulation, 5th in good driving percentage, and 40th in total driving. He also ranks 8th in driving accuracy, and he's got top 25 finishes recently at the Masters, RBC, and the Players. And if this guy gets his putter going, we've seen what he can do, and I think Will McGirt, he's got a chance this week, and he's going to be one of those guys I think you could get at a little lower ownership, priced at $6,900, and there are a ton of guys in that price range. So for that reason, I like him this week. Moving on, here we have the narratives this week. First, Steve Stricker. He's a Madison grad. He's from Wisconsin. Pretty cool story. He just qualified, basically one of the last guys qualified for the U.S. Open. And you can see his greens and regulation, not the best. He ranks 103rd. Par 4 scoring, he ranks 32nd, but driving accuracy, he ranks 1st. Now, it's one of those guys. I'm playing because he's familiar with the state. He knows how to play in the wind, and he's a solid ball striker. So So those are and a really good putter. So those are some of the guys I'm gonna be targeting this week, especially if the wind picks up. Next we have Peter Uihlein, 6,900. He is hitting 70% of his greens in regulation, which would be 12th on tour. He also averages 3.95 strokes on par fours. That would rank second on tour and hits 69% of fairways, which ranks in the top 15. He advanced 3 rounds in the U.S. Amateur event, held at Erin Hills in 2011. And this year, he's had some solid finishes on U.S. soil. Finished T23 at Shell Houston and T25 at Memorial. And then Puerto Rico, he finished T5. And he's having a great season. And he's been a solid player the last few years. Next, we got Jordan Spieth, another guy I mentioned, played in the U.S. Amateur event held here in 2011. He ranks 4th in greens in regulation. He's tied for second in par 4 scoring. And we all know he is spotty off the tee. But I think he's going to be able to keep it together. And his total driving is not that bad. So what that says is, yes, he misses the fairways, but it's not to Phil Mickelson proportions. So we'll see on Spieth. I think he's a great pivot off of DJ. Second highest priced guy on DraftKings. He won at Chambers Bay 2 years ago. Another link style course with that long fescue with sand traps everywhere. So I think Spieth, he's going to be lower owned, and I really like the leverage in GPPs for Jordan Spieth. Next, moving on to FanDuel. Here we have the sand specialists. Leading off, Adam Hadwin ranks 5th in sand save percentage, ranks 47th in strokes gained tee to green, and 123rd in approach shots from 200 to 225 yards. He's coming off a missed cut at Memorial, but he won an event earlier this year at Valspar. He's a great ball striker, having a great season. He's been quiet of late, and he's once again in a price range with a ton of guys, and I think his game sets up well. And I think we're going to see him play pretty well this week. So I like Adam Hadwin, 7,100 on FanDuel. Next, we have Alex Noren. This is a guy that plays on the Euro Tour, but he has recently finished 10th at the Players. He's great around the green. He ranks 19th in sand save percentage. His approach from 200 to 225 ranks 8th on tour. And then strokes gained tee to green ranks 58th. And like I said, I think his game sets up well here. He's not as well known, especially for the casual players we are going to be having this week for the U.S. Open. So I think at 7,800, Noren is a great play. And lastly, Charles Schwartzel. He's priced at 6,800. He has had a wrist injury this season. It looks like he is fully recovered. His sand save percentage, he ranks 16th on tour, 26th in approach from 200 to 225 yards. And his first round today at St. Jude, he had a great first round. We'll see how he keeps it up over the weekend, but this first round really makes me feel good. Coming off back-to-back weekend play, so I think the risk is just fine, and he has said in interviews that he feels great, and he's really looking forward to getting back out there feeling healthy. So I think his price is too cheap to pass up, and a great play. Next, we have the GPP targets on FanDuel. First, we got Bud Cauley. He is ranked 59th in greens in regulation, 33rd strokes gained tee to green, and 76th in strokes gained off the tee. Price at 5,800, and since the beginning of April, he has rattled off a T9, T10, back-to-back T5 finishes, a 41st and a 25th finish. I think he has by far the most upside of any guy in that $5,000 price range on FanDuel. He probably will be talked up this week. I don't know how much the casual fan knows of him, but I think he's going to be talked up. But at that price, I don't know how you pass him up. Next, we have Byung-Hyun An. He is ranked 70th in greens and regulation, 15th in strokes gained tee to green, 22nd strokes gained off the tee. And his last 3 events, he's coming off a T5, T8, and 25th finish. He's having a great season, and at 6,800, I think he can provide quite a bit of salary relief for the caliber player he is. Next, Louis Oosthuizen, priced at 8,400. He's got 5 top 25 finishes in the last 8 events. He's got no injury concerns we know of. Hopefully he brings his own bet in for Erin Hills. He's been known to withdraw from some events, but on the big stage, I don't think we have to worry about that. He ranks 63rd greens and regulation, 17th strokes gained tee to green, and 19th strokes gained off the tee. He finished T2 at Chambers Bay, and he's won the British Open on a link-style course. So I think he's really comfortable in this golf course format. And at 8,400, I think he's a great play. Now here's some of the guys with GPP sprinkles that I'm going to be targeting. First, Stuart Sink. He ranks 12th in greens and regulation, 28th in strokes gained tee to green, and 87th in total driving. He has 9 top 30 finishes in his last 12 starts. Just a really solid cut maker. His first day at St. Jude, he played really well. So that gives me some confidence leaning into this. His form is still in great shape. And at 6,600, I think you can fire away with Stuart Sink. Next, Billy Horschel, 6,500. He ranks 10th in greens and regulation, 78th strokes gained tee to green, 21st total driving. Just a really solid ball striker. He is having somewhat of a roller coaster year. He won the Byron Nelson a few weeks ago, and he's got a ton of upside at this price point. But I will say, proceed with caution. It has been a roller coaster year, and you never know what Billy Horschel you're going to get, and he can get tempered out there on the golf course. So just keep that in mind. Don't go too overweight with them, but I think you need some exposure this week. And lastly, we're dipping down in the 4K price range. Xander Schauffele. He has made 5 of his last 6 cuts, and someone to keep an eye on during St. Jude this weekend to see how he finishes up. I would use him as your last roster spot as a filler. He ranks 29th in greens and regulation this year, 99th in strokes gained tee to green, and 100th in total driving. So you can see his stats aren't all there. Definitely a flyer. I would not go, and you don't even need that much exposure to go overweight on Xander. So I think he's going to be a great GPP sprinkle this week. And lastly, for those of you who do not follow us, you can find us on Twitter at Daily Fantasy Press. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. That way you will be notified each week when we release our podcast. And our website listed below, dailyfantasypress.com. And that's where you will be able to find our article that we release. We will be putting out a course preview write-up and also player selection for Draftkings, FanDuel, and Fantasy Draft. So I thank you guys for listening and for the support. If you have any questions, feel free to message us on Twitter, and we will respond to your questions. In the meantime, I wish you guys best of luck this week.